So in today's video, we're going to be reacting to a quick training where we have this guy called Marcus walking through how to become a high ticket closer. I think he talks about what it is. He talks about how to find jobs, all that good stuff. We're going to see if there's anything we can take away from this training, from this video, and go from there. Let's jump right into it.
In this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step how exactly you can become a high ticket closer and start earning your first commission within the shortest time possible. I've coached over 100 guys in the space now, many of which had no experience and were able to land their first roles and collect their first commission checks in the first few weeks. Take Zaki, for example. He was struggling to land clients for his marketing agency and he pivoted to high ticket sales. Within his first few weeks, he was able to land an offer and make possible. I guess first thing to address is what exactly is a high ticket closer. So a high ticket closer is basically a sales rep. You work for an already established business that's pulling in at least 100K a month in revenue, and your job is simply to take calls for that business with interested prospects.
That's a good kind of bare minimum if you're looking for like a solid offer. I've worked with companies doing less. I've worked with companies doing like 50K a month, 60K a month, 70K a month, kind of like as a part-time closer while I did other stuff on the side, built my business, sold different stuff, which you can definitely do that. If you're looking though to be full-time and you want to make like 10K plus a month, you kind of want to do the math between their monthly revenue, the commission percentage, and how much reps they have on the team. So if they're giving away 10% commission for a closed deal, one rep should be closing 100K a month in cash collected. So if you see they have like 2 or 3 reps and they're doing 100K a month and they're promising a 10K OTE, then you kind of want to get a little, like, the numbers are fishy, right? You should see like 300, 400K a month at that kind of OTE. So what you kind of want to do is the math on, okay, how much of the revenue is being produced by each rep at 10%. That's what their commission is. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking at a team with like 1 or 2 reps and you want to make like, 5 to 10K plus a month, then yeah, jumping on a team with 1 rep, jumping on a team as a second rep would be good to kind of hit that if they're doing 100K plus a month, at least, is what you want to be looking at.
So we booked into your calendar through whatever, marketing method that company is using, whether that's paid ads, appointment setters, etc. And then your job is to simply show up to the Zoom call and try and close those prospects. The products and services you're going to be selling are typically going to be within the online business space, whether that be coaching, consultancy, online education, marketing offers.
I know a lot of marketing you see where people are talking about like high ticket sales, remote sales. They make it sound super simple and easy. It is simple, but not easy, I'll say. And when I say simple, I mean, yes, you are showing up and, taking these calls, but it's more than that, right? As a closer, you're not just like, I wake up in the morning, I look at calls that are on a calendar, I show up to those calls, I have those conversations, then I close the laptop and that's that. There's follow-up, there's pipeline management, there's admin, and admin meaning there's companies that most good teams will want you to do like an end of day report, what actually happened on those calls. You can automate some of that with AI and different CRMs. There's pre-calling leads. When a call books into your calendar, are you going to call to confirm and have a quick conversation with that lead to make sure that they have the Zoom link, they know the time, tracking your commissions. Like, there's a lot of micro work that goes into it as well that you'll never really hear mentioned in videos like this, but just kind of don't think it's literally just showing up to calls, having the conversation, then going home and that's literally all you do, or just like closing the laptop and you literally don't do any other work. There is other work. Sometimes that can even come down to contacting people that you've closed for payment plans to collect additional revenue. Like there's lots of other stuff that goes into it.
And a whole plethora of other things. The products you're going to be selling range from 5 all the way up to 30K plus. And you typically get paid a commission of 10% on the deals you're able to close. So for example, if you're selling a 10K product, you're able to make a sale, you're going to walk away with 10% commission, which is 1,000. close 10 of those deals a month, you're already at 10K a month. So yeah, it sounds super straightforward, and to be honest, it really is. Providing you take the time to learn sales and you know where to find these opportunities, you can be hitting 10K a month in no time. And yeah, there is no need to overcomplicate it. We just need to break it down into two main things. First off is actually taking the time to get good at sales and learn the sales process. And the next is being able to navigate and find these job opportunities within the industry.
And a lot of people, if I go back there, like this get good at sales piece, I guess my head is kind of covering it. I'm like, okay. Okay. So this like get good at sales piece is a massive, massive piece, right? It's not something that's like, oh yeah, just going to get good at sales. Like imagine becoming a pro athlete in any sport and then plug that into here of like, hey, you want to be a pro soccer player? First thing you got to do is just like get good at soccer and then find a soccer team or a tryout to like showcase your skills. Obviously, nobody would look at becoming a pro athlete as that easy, that simple. So I just want to reiterate that for people here that are just thinking, okay, cool. You know, couple months, couple weeks of just like practicing mock calls and sales calls. And then I'll be good on my training. And then I just got to go find a job. Can you go get a job? Can you go make good money, 5, 10K a month pretty quickly? Yeah, absolutely. Is it going to take you years and years and years and years? No. But this getting good at sales piece is years and years and years and years of development. You're consistently getting and honing your craft. And for some people, that timeline is longer than others. How quickly you get good at sales is going to determine how quickly you can find an opportunity. It's going to determine how well you perform in that opportunity. But I just don't want you guys to think that like, okay, it's just, I'm just going to, spend a week getting good at sales and then go from there and everything else is peachy. So although like technically correct, it's not as easy as people make it seem most of the time.
Find these job opportunities within the industry. You do not need to start a business. You do not need to start an agency. You're literally just leveraging one high value skill to get rich. And this is actually where I see so many guys go wrong. They try and start a business, an agency, an e-commerce store, or a SaaS without actually acquiring or knowing any of the skills they need in order to make that business a success, which is why high ticket closing is so good, because you're literally learning one high value skill and using that immediately to make money. So let's jump into it.
And I know I'm pausing it a lot, but again, this one high value skill is like an overarching thing that has a bunch of micro skills within it, right? There's listening skills, communication skills, there's ability to probe and ask great questions, ability to challenge and help people overcome fears, using analogy, storytelling. There's so many micro skills that go into what makes a sales rep a great rep. There's body language, there's tonality, there's so much that goes into it that I hesitate to say like, oh yeah, it's just one skill. It's just like one skill you gotta learn, So it is, sales as a whole is an overarching skill, but there's like dialing, there's like setting, there's closing, there's pitching, there's objection handling, there's different types of communication skills. There's so much that different skills that goes into it that I wouldn't just say it's one skill.
So the first thing you need to focus on is actually getting good at sales. And yeah, it's going to take time. And it's the most important thing here, because the better you are at sales, the more sales calls you're going to be able to close. The more sales you're able to close, the better offer you're going to be able to work on. And the better offer you're going to be able to work on, the more money you're going to be able to make. It's an endless positive cycle that really starts with your ability to sell. And you can look at this on a really simple graph too, because the more skills you have, the more money you're going to be able to make. And this graph can go on forever, right? Because as you keep getting better at sales, you're going to be making more and more money to the point where you're going to outgrow becoming a closer, and you're going to go into starting your own business, and those businesses are just going to get bigger and bigger and more lucrative. You can look at guys like,
you don't have to outgrow outgrow becoming a sales. You don't have to start your own business. That's not necessarily the end all be all of being a sales rep, is becoming a business owner. That is one way to get a massive amount of leverage if you're highly skilled in sales, but there's other ways to do it, like becoming a massive referral partner where you have so many connections, so many referrals that you don't necessarily need to be on the front lines taking like brand new calls from people that don't know who you are. There's so many, you could, if you really enjoy the teaching and coaching side of it, you could become a sales manager. there's a lot of different stuff, because running a business requires more than just being a good closer. So I don't think business owner is the natural next step to being a good closer.
Grant Cardone, Ryan Serhan, Iman Gadzhi, and Alex Hormozi. As time has gone on, their skills have increased and they're able to make more money. So they're way up further on this graph than you are, but that's only because they've taken more time to learn those skills in order to actually generate more money. And that's really the only thing distinguishing you and them. They just have better skills than you, which a lot can be attributed to sales skills. You know, it manifests in all areas of business: marketing, team building, client acquisition. I cannot stress enough the importance of learning sales. So getting good at sales really should be your number one priority. And there's multiple ways you can do this. I mean, there's a bunch of books: How to Win Friends and Influence People, Where the Wolf by Jordan Belfort, or there's a lot of free content simply on YouTube. I love Alex Hormozi's old sales videos. I think they're absolutely gold. Or of course, if you want to learn quickly, you can invest in a sales program or a coach like mine, Club Closer. But to be honest, there's a hell of a lot of free resources you can go ahead and leverage right away, actually start improving your sales skills. But consuming content is actually a very small part of the learning process. You actually have to go and practice. And you know, if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume you're quite big on self-improvement and you most likely go to the gym. So let's assume you wanted to get stronger in the gym, right? And all you did was read gym books on how to do different exercises, or you watched different YouTube videos of different guys working out. Do you think you'd actually get any stronger if you just did that and you didn't actually step foot in the gym? No.
Such a good point. Such a good point. I see so many sales reps spending so much time consuming content when the reps is what's going to get you your most growth. Getting on an offer and just giving it a shot, giving it a go, doing the volume, doing the reps. That's what's going to get you way more growth than another book, another podcast, another course. This is a solid piece of advice.
Of course not. You wouldn't get any stronger at all. You need to actually step foot in the gym and actually put in the reps. Putting in those reps, putting in the practice is how you actually get better. And sales is no different. It's an active skill that you actually need to go and practice. You can't simply just consume sales content and expect to get any better. You need to get your time in the ring. You need to get the reps in as much as possible. And the best way to do this is actually by running mock sales calls. So you can get together with a friend or someone else you know is trying to get better at sales, and you can just go through the sales script. Role play.
Mock calls are good, but I wouldn't say they're the best. I wouldn't say it's the best way to get reps in, simply because most roleplay partners just suck. Like most roleplay partners, because the thing about roleplay is it's only going to help you as much as your partner is a good enough actor, right? Your partner needs to be really, really good at playing a prospect who really wants or really needs what it is you can offer. And they have to be able to do that. They have to be able to do that from different angles as well. So you have experience dealing with different types of prospects. So there's prospects that, you know, really have this pain, this terrible situation they want to get out of. And there's prospects that situation is not like terrible, but you know, they just have this huge goal that they really want to achieve. And there's prospects that are a little bit more closed off and you need to probe a little bit deeper, a little bit harder to get them to answer fully. And there's prospects that are just open books and ramblers, and you got to learn how to deal with someone who rambles. And how can I keep the call to a good amount of time while still allowing them to speak to, you know, fully get them to answer questions, or people that just ramble and don't answer the question at all. Like there's so many different like types of people, not like a huge amount, but there's different types of people that you want to experience and know how to handle. And then there's people that, you know, you've got to do a deep discovery. These people that you got to spend a lot of time handling objections, helping them overcome fears. And 1 or 2 or even 5 role play partners, they're just not going to be able to play all of those different angles, all of that different experience, right? So although practice is really, really good way to get the muscle memory part down of saying your pitch, asking certain questions, it's a really good way to not be stuttering. It's a good way to remember what you're going to say next without having to look at the script. It's not the best way to like massively improve your skills. You need to do that. Plus you just need to talk to as many people as possible. And this is why I say, like, just if you can do this part-time, if you can do it on the side, if you are, you know, not worried too much about the bills, like just get in a role that you can consistently talk to people and consistently make offers. Nothing's going to be better than just doing the thing, right? Nothing's going to be better than just talking to people, analyzing it, seeing what you need to improve, and then going out and improving it. And then obviously spending some time honing and practicing certain aspects of your game. So like the practice is huge.
out a certain sales scenario, certain objection handling, and really get down to it, because you know that's the closest thing to an actual sale you're going to be able to replicate. And yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, the first few will suck. You will feel awkward, you feel like you don't know what you're doing, you'll realize you actually have a lot to learn. This is part of the process. And it's the same with the first time you stepped in a gym. You probably felt pretty awkward. You know, you didn't know your way around, you didn't know what weight you could pick up because you didn't know how strong you were, and you didn't know how to use any machines. But over time, you get more comfortable, you know where everything is, you know what weight you can pick up, and you know how to use all the machines. It's the exact same with learning sales and running mock calls. The more practice you put in, the better you're going to get, and the more confident you are going to be in your own sales ability. Knowing that you'll actually be able to close a sale is when you really should start looking for a job. Because to be blunt, if you don't take the time to learn sales first, you're simply wasting your time. You're going to be burning a lot of bridges with business owners that you could potentially work with in the future. And it's like you right now going ahead and applying to be a dentist. You know, you flake your way through the interview and you get down, you sit down with your first patient and you have no idea how to fix their teeth. You're going to get fired very, very quickly because you're not going to be able to do the work. That dentist is never going to hire again. And they're probably going to go and spread the news within their network that, you know, this guy has no idea what he's doing. I really recommend you don't hire him too. So you simply end up burning a lot of bridges and wasting a lot of opportunities. Because I do see this happen all the time in the industry. Guys go straight into trying to land a job without taking the time to learn sales, and ultimately it gets them nowhere and they're wondering why they're not getting hired. It's a skill of sales itself that's going to get you hired, so really do not neglect learning it. So providing you've taken time to actually learn sales and you're pretty confident you can actually close deals, it's time to go and find an offer to sell for. And this in theory is going to be your first sale. You're going to be selling yourself and your experience to a business owner, so much so that they're going to want you to join their team. And with sales, it's one of the few skills you can actually illustrate when trying to get hired. That be the way you reach out to the business owner, the way you speak, the way you follow up.
Absolutely.
All of these play a huge part in getting the business owner's attention, but also demonstrating skills and attributes that they want on their sales team. So it's really important you keep that in mind when reaching out to these business owners. And there are multiple ways you can go about finding these high ticket job opportunities. Some of the lowest hanging fruit is actually the Facebook groups. So simply type in high ticket sales on Facebook and it'll be plastered with a number of groups that you can basically just join, and you'll be presented with a series of different offers from.
And this advice would be solid like 4 or 5 years ago. I'd say even 2.5, 3 years ago, there's some solid opportunities. Nowadays, there are a couple sprinkled here and there. It's not the best ROI on your time. Facebook groups has a lot of fake posts, a lot of like spam, scam, bait and switches. I mean, any of you that have been looking for jobs on Facebook for any amount of time, you would know that it's just not a huge ROI on time. There are some good recruiters though on Facebook groups. You can see there's a lot of like sales recruiters posting in some of these groups. So if you come across those, I would definitely get in touch with those recruiters. I think actually, here we go, like Kelsey O'Neill, I think she is actually a recruiter. So reaching out to someone like her would be solid. It's kind of hidden there. There you go. It would be solid to like reach out to someone like this on Facebook. But I mean, I'm sure these are all legitimate posts, but when you go to Facebook groups nowadays, yeah, some of them are a mess. So I'd be very, very careful with Facebook groups, and I would try to look at some private networks and some other options as well, unless you really know how to differentiate and how to tell what the spam jobs look like.
Different business owners. But you got to be careful with these groups. There are a lot of scam offers, and a lot of the offers won't be as good as they look. So it's really important you actually go ahead and vet these opportunities, which is something I'm going to come on to later in this video. But in my opinion, the best way to find these opportunities is actually just to simply reverse engineer finding the companies and the individuals that you want to work for.
Best way is to use RepSelect, link in bio.
And you can do this on social media. You can go into a specific niche that you actually have an interest in, and you can find individuals that are, you know, big names within that specific niche, and you can find them that are selling high ticket products or services within that niche. You can then go ahead and directly reach out to them. If I had an interest in social media marketing and I wanted to set up a marketing agency of my own in the future, I would start by working for a marketing agency in their sales team, in which I can stack decent commission, but I can also learn how the inside of that company works.
Great advice. Great advice. Like getting a job where, if you do want to be an entrepreneur, if that's the route you do want to go, getting a job and learning how it works from the inside is such a good advantage, because you can see everything. You can see everything, exactly how it works, pricing, how they get their leads, how they do their marketing, how they do their sales. You can go and I would go talk to everyone at the company, understand what they do, their job, like in detail. Like that's a really solid piece of advice. I tell people this all the time. Yeah, awesome.
I could see the back end, how they acquire clients, and basically how their whole operation runs. So not only am I getting good at sales and stacking cash, I'm learning skills that I can later apply on my own business. And then you want to think, where's the best place to actually find these businesses? Now, if I was looking for a marketing...
And you don't have to, like, I know obviously this is about sales jobs, but if you've got some marketing skills, you can go get on the marketing team. If you've got some operation skills, you can go get you just got to go work for the company in some capacity in general, you know, and then you can talk to the sales team. You can ask for the sales team to send you some of their sales call recordings. You can talk to the marketing team and take a look at what they're doing on marketing and look at their ads and look at their tracking. If you get in the team, you can kind of access other departments. So this is not just a sales only advantage to working with companies if you want to be an entrepreneur in the future.
Company or a marketing company owner, where's the best place to find them? Obviously it's going to be LinkedIn, because that's where these business owners are going to be spending most of their time. You know, with B2B offers, LinkedIn's obviously the best place, so that's where I'd start looking. And then you simply want to reach out to these business owners, offering your services and showing them exactly how you can help them close more deals and essentially bring them more business. The more you're able to stand out and illustrate your sales skills, the more likely you're going to be to get a reply. So it's important you be unique and creative in your approach. For example, one of my students inside Club Closer wasn't getting a reply from a business owner on Instagram. So he went ahead and messaged the business owner's dog Instagram account. Obviously that dog doesn't have an Instagram themselves. It's run by the business owner. So he was able to get through to that business owner that way. With that in mind, always be respectful and always be professional with your approach. One of the key slip-ups I see with closers trying to find new opportunities is they assume they have to wait for a business owner to be actively hiring in order to reach out to them, which isn't true, because if you think about it, the sales team are the closest to the money. They have the biggest influence over how much that business can actually generate in cash. And if that team's not performing, or an individual within that team isn't performing, the whole business is going to suffer. So if a business owner gets a message from a killer sales rep that is super passionate about what they do, they have a lot of conviction that they're going to be able to sell and help that business owner make more sales, the likelihood is they're going to take a chance on you. You'll get the opportunity to take a few sales calls and prove your worth. And the business owner will very quickly be able to see if you're actually any good at sales simply by seeing if you're able to close any of those calls. So don't...
And that's where kind of the difference is with the sales role comparison to other roles, because if you can be a positive ROI to the company, there's always room to bring you on board, because most companies hire based on where their revenue's at and can they afford a new person in that position, right? If I'm hiring for the marketing team, do we have the budget to hire another marketer? If I'm hiring for operations delivery, I'm hiring a coach or consultant, someone, account manager, do we have budget to bring in another account manager? Do we have enough accounts for them to manage? But for sales, it's like we've got 2 sales reps generating $100K each. If I'm confident that this third sales rep will bring in another $100K, then I'll bring them on anytime. At the end of the day, that's why you can reach out to companies almost like pretty much year round for the most part. If you can prove that you're a solid rep, they'll give you a look, they'll give you an interview, they might give you a shot. So yeah, reach out to companies that you think are super, super solid. And one thing to kind of keep in mind here, when you are reaching out, you got to keep in mind what your profile actually looks like. A lot of people reach out, like for example, they'll reach out to me for a job from like their meme page, right? Or like just a page that is inappropriate, or a page that doesn't even look like a real person, or doesn't even have a profile picture. They're also assessing what your page is, where you're reaching out to. You're reaching out to them for a professional relationship, and you're coming with an account that doesn't showcase any professionalism. You want to keep that in mind. You don't want to, your personal page is fine as long as it's a real person and not like an anime profile picture or a cartoon or like just a meme or something that showcases that you don't have any kind of serious presence online. Makes a big difference in the amount of responses you're going to get and your level of professionalism.
Hold back on reaching out to guys that are not actively hiring, because you never know. They might have a weak link in their sales team. They might be looking to scale, or they might even know someone that is looking to hire a closer if they're not directly looking themselves. Which leads on to another important point if you're looking to enter the high ticket closing game, and that's your network. You need to focus on building up your network within the space, not only with other business owners, but other closers within the industry too. Because as cliche as it may sound, your network really is your net worth. And by building up your network, you'll become known as the go-to guy for sales. So everybody's gonna want you on their team. And you'll be presented with opportunities you didn't know existed, simply because these business owners have a solid network of people that when they're hiring, they will go directly to them. They won't be posting on job boards or promoting on their Instagram. They already know the kind of individuals they want to hire on their team. And you simply just want to get into those circles. So once you're good at sales and you know how to find opportunities, you need to make sure that the opportunities you're finding are actually good and you can actually make good money with. Because there's no point working for a kid that's just started a marketing agency. He's never been on a sales call before in his life and he's never closed a client. You want to be working for the businesses that are doing at least 6 figures a month. So when finding a good offer, you need to look at 3 main things. That's the offer itself, the lead quality, and the lead quantity. You need to make sure what you're selling is actually a good offer. And a lot of common sense comes into this. Does the offer itself actually make sense? If you're their target demographic, would you consider buying it? How long have they been in business? What testimonials do they have? And what results are they getting for clients? You need to see whether there's actually an appetite for the offer, or does the offer solve a problem the market wants? Because this will make your job a lot easier when it comes to selling. You then need to determine the quality of the leads. This is simply, the quality of prospects the current closers are talking to. And in simple terms, the higher quality the lead, the more easy they are going to be to sell to. You want to be getting on calls with people that have already shown an interest in the company's product or service. They know what you do and they know what the call is actually about, as opposed to someone that's booked a call through a vague email, has no idea what the call is about, or even that it's actually a sales call. Then the last thing to consider is the lead volume. This one's pretty self-explanatory, but you essentially want to make sure you're getting enough calls booked in your calendar every single day that you can actually make decent money with the offer. There's no point working for a company that's giving you 1 call a day, whereas you could be working for a company that's giving you 5 calls a day. You'll have 5 times the chance to actually close a sale, and you'll 5x your earning potential simply by the volume of calls you take. So once you've checked these 3 things, you'll be good to start working on your first offer and you can start printing cash. So that is pretty much step by step how you can become a high ticket closer.
Solid. Overall, really, really good advice. Solid video. Lots of good information here if you're looking to kind of land your first offer, build those skills, build your network, know how to vet and find good offers, and you can land a role. Just keep in mind, very, very simple, but not easy. It does take work. It does take time, especially the part where it comes to developing your skills. And when you are ready to kind of apply to a role, one thing that he didn't mention here was your assets. When you're reaching out, yes, you can apply. Yes, you can have your network. Yes, you can connect directly. You can reach out. But the better the assets that you have, the actual digital assets, the higher chance you're going to get responses, the higher chance you're going to get interviews, the higher chance you're going to land offers. And when I say assets, I mean a great intro video, number 1 asset. If you have a good intro video, you will get more interviews. I've had people that were getting 40 interviews a month because they changed their intro video. They went from struggling to get a handful. If you have a good intro video, next, a good portfolio, which means as you're doing those mock calls, as you're doing those role plays, you should be recording them and kind of compiling them into snippets, showcasing discovery, showcasing your pitch, showcasing how you set appointments, showcasing whatever skills you want to showcase, so that when you're applying, you have proof that you can sell for the business owner. If you've never sold before, if this is your first high ticket sales role, if your first remote sales role, you need to show them something that showcases that you can sell. Why would they give you a shot? Why? Just because you said, hey, I bought someone's program and I think I'd do a good job? No, you need to have something that proves you can actually sell. And one of those things is going to be recordings of those mock calls, examples of those mock calls. And then when you land your first offer, you can further build upon this portfolio as you build your network and build your skills. You can further build upon this network with the actual results that you get at companies. Screenshots of tracking sheets, screenshots of commission checks, screenshots of deals being processed in Slack channels, all of that stuff, along with real live call recordings, mock call recordings, obviously with redacted information, blurring out faces and names and all that. But having all of that will be huge for your actual, application process with businesses, because you have tons of proof that makes them more likely to give you that chance. Because even though he said, hey, they might give you a chance, give you a couple calls to close, those couple calls cost money. A couple calls could cost that business $1,000 to produce for someone. So businesses aren't just willy-nilly giving every Tom, Dick, and Harry a couple calls here and there. That could cost them tons of money every month to be risking that much on that many people. So you've got to have things that showcase that. And if you do that, landing roles will be within your grasp. It'll be a lot simpler, but it will take a ton of work. It's never easy. So if anyone's trying to make it seem like it's super, super easy, run. But anyways, I'll leave it there for this one. Hopefully you guys got some good information from this one. I'll see you guys in the next video.